Hey, we are live at Creative Sparks on Thursday, and today we are going to be exploring creative healthcare straight through the apocalypse. So, yes, things are a little bit hairy these days, and in some cases a lot hairy. So, we're going to talk with Opeyemi Param, Dr. O, otherwise known as Dr. O, about her systems for creative healthcare and how to take back our power in these areas. So Opeyemi, Dr. O, retired 22 years ago from a successful couple of decades as a family doctor. Since then, she has focused on social work and on creating ceremonies to help clients and patients advocate for themselves and make meaning out of the more challenging of life's experiences. She is a fifth generation descendant of enslaved Africans and their oppressors. At YouTube, you can find her at Dr. O's Medicine Show. She's also got a Substack subscription and also essays at her own website. She provides social commentary in these places. And as a keen observer of the dominator culture that she's largely rejected, she also wrote her memoir recently, which launched November 2nd. It's called Spirit of My Ancestors, A Black Woman Doctor's Truth. Above all, and I've heard Opeyemi describe herself in this way for a long time, and it always warms my heart, she is a healing artist and an artist healing. So I'm going to bring her on. Hello, Dr. O.
Hello, what a nice introduction. I loved hearing all about myself. Thank you for telling me all about myself.
Yes. Yes, and you're a a multi-passionate, richly, oh man, I'm having an image but not the word. Your tendrils are connected, and I value that so much about you. So,
I am
yeah.
certainly trying to weave all of my different parts into a polymath self, a Renaissance woman.
Yes. Yeah. So, talk about your book at first here today. Is that
Oh, I would
something you
love to
can
talk
do?
about my book. I wish I could show you my book, but at this moment in time, it's patience is power because it's everywhere it's supposed to be, but because I wanted to make sure it was available to people off the major corporate entities as well as on, I had to wait a little longer. So now you can open an account at Ingram Sparks and you can
Mhm.
get a copy of this book, and it's not Amazon. It's not, that other one. But this is also available on Amazon and on Kindle as an iBook. And what I wrote about was me starting it when I was 48 years old and had a major, major spiritual crisis, as in suicide. And when you use that word, even Substack edited out my suicide on their AI, like when I said that word. So it's becoming very unpopular to talk about an overly popular choice of what to do when you're exhausted. So
Mhm.
I went back in my memoirs all the way to my birth to figure out, well, what exhausted me so terribly. So
Yeah.
that's what it's about in
Yeah.
7 chapters. Short and sweet, but very deep.
Mhm. And in your current life, right, the people that you're helping now, mostly women of menopausal age, right? How did your story lead you to that?
Well, that was 48 years old when I fell apart. So I look back and not hormonal. It was life experience, trauma, um, triggered. So I want to look back with and for women all the way, I got women 80 at this point in looking back at what they had and did not have as far as support. But the thing that worries me is there is a new diagnosis out there that really is not terribly helpful because it's coming from the pharmaceutical industry. It's coming
Mhm.
from the corporate medical. That's
Mhm.
perimenopause. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, Perry, what? So there are transitions and life stages that women will be thinking about beyond 25 in
Mm.
a culture that doesn't really count women
Right.
beyond 25. That's a lot of
Yep.
life.
Yep. It is a lot. And so, yeah, how can we get creative about helping ourselves with this stuff?
Well, Creative Sparks, what we can do, first of all, is look where I'm standing. I am on a sunny day, but very cold, at what's called the North Branch Nature Center, where I live in central Vermont. This is available to anybody who can get here. Okay, so it is 24/7 open. It doesn't have a fee. So that is one thing that I prescribe to people as a healing artist. Go take a
Nature.
walk. There is a little tiny area where you can walk in 20 minutes, and if you're in a wheelchair, you can do it because it's a accessible trail that's very, very flat, but you're in this beautiful setting with all these different seasons. You can
Yeah.
participate, as I did, in the summer of play. I just played my way through a summer that allowed me to have way more tools when the stressors of finishing a book on schedule, and making sure that everything that I need to do, just what I need to do, all of that had to happen more graciously because I have been figuring out how to play. I'm
Yeah.
going to walk myself back on inside here
Yeah.
because kids are starting to get out. That's the other thing. People watching is something that I do a lot that I think gets underrated as an
Mm.
imaginal tool to help really supplement your imagination. Imagine that person's day. Imagine their whole life, right? And you'll never know whether you're right or wrong, but it's kind of
As you're moving around, it's breaking up a little bit here. So we'll settle in whenever you do. Meanwhile, while we're frozen a bit, I'm going to OPME mentioned play. I'm going to bring up that that toolkit that we use throughout the summer, or part of it. We did a lot more than this too. But yeah, that's at play.growyourwholevoice.com. That's a free toolkit for playing. And it looks like you're back, Opami. And so
yes.
I just wanted to say too about the people watching. Yeah, I feel like I extend that spirit into nature watching as well, dog watching, and kind of imagining. Yeah, you also brought up imagining, right? Being such a key element of creativity in general. If we can imagine things, then we can make them happen. So I
Yeah,
how
but
does
you
it
have
play
to
into this?
imagine it first, right? The
Yeah,
the 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 science of mind religious community says conceive it, believe it, receive it. But if you can't conceive it in the first place, how do you expect it to be war manifesting in
right.
in our lives? So,
Mhm. Yeah.
and the power of our voices in song and in storytelling. In less than 2 hours, I will be facilitating a women's council. I just love the idea of circling us up for tending and befriending to actually happen. It happens differently in the flesh than it does in a Zoom conversation, but I am so thrilled at how amazing the connections can sometimes be
Yeah.
over the machines.
Right.
I today am recommitting to try to do a little more boots on the ground because winter makes me want to isolate, and I want
Mhm.
to sort of balance that with an ongoing commitment to
Yeah.
at least come into Zoom rooms like this, at least do the live streams,
Yes.
enjoy ourselves more.
In synchronous time, yes. And speaking of which, Kim's on with us today and, has made a comment in the chat, something back to when you were outside. She said, "Burr, I prefer warm play." I feel the same way too. And as we've been talking about stretching ourselves, right? Stretching ourselves into things that we aren't usually as inclined to do has huge value as well. So yeah, riding that balance between comfort and stretching.
And
So
I'm in Vermont,
yeah,
so Coldplay is there.
it's
This is
there.
where I am not a Vermonter, that they get all excited about the snow up in the mountains. I do not do either kind of skiing downhill
Mhm.
or cross country, but on stretching, I was considering getting back on a pair of cross country skis this winter.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Cross training, cross and
Right.
expansion of it all. So, how might somebody, like a woman who's up against the healthcare system as it is, with all of its awful, awful, problems, what's one way that she, besides cultivating her joy in the ways that you've already said, what's one way that she might directly bring that joy into her interactions with the system? I've seen you do those things with people that you've
I'm
worked
going to
with.
back up a step
Yep.
and say, for safety's sake, she has to buddy up. She has to buddy up with some other person assigned female at birth with a womb
Yep.
who can hold her hand when necessary and
Hmm.
offer experience, strength, and hope.
Hmm.
Jenny Elinora happens to be my special buddy, including being my power of attorney, health proxy, if anything is a problem. Okay. You don't have to do all of that, but you want to have a buddy so that when you bump up to things, you can talk about it. So
Yeah.
the first thing is, who can you talk to
Yep.
about these issues? I
Yeah.
got the active listener as a doctor who cared, Ho'oponopono style, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
I'm sorry, please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I mean, seriously, people brought their stories. So the
Yeah.
first thing you can do is buddy. And
Yeah.
then the second thing you can do is recognize that sadly, there's a lot of release that has to often come out in the negative before you can get to what I call that cosmic giggle. So
Hmm.
don't be embarrassed or ashamed. If it
Right.
takes you a while to find the giggle funny part of, oh yeah, that time when I had to have that pap smear and my leg came
Hmm.
out of the stirrup and
Yep.
it may be a while before you get to that.
Yeah.
But those stories are there,
Right.
and they're how we flip by going through the trauma stories to the other side.
Right.
It allows us to flip them into something better or
Right.
yeah.
And in the same way that, like, I'm a creative champion for my clients and, help them to flip those scripts and be there for them, right, in that deep way. That's what you do for people in your health assurances sessions, right? That you.
It's a wonderful offering. I hope a lot of people will take me up on. In a 30-minute slot, we can have a 20-minute conversation that turns into an hour of my time offering you a health assurance plan. We can look at a specific instance of time, like do we want to look at the next year, 5 years, and your age, your ethnicity, your genetic risks, your family stuff. I mean, I'm a very efficient listener, so I've recognized that I can like get this down to this wonderful little 20 minutes.
Yep.
And then you have a healthcare plan, and I'm not selling anything. So I'm
Mhm.
not trying to get you to go get your mammogram on schedule. You may want to go do thermography over there out of pocket. You may want to do traditional Chinese medicine for your endometriosis, like
Mhm.
7% of the Chinese people are doing. And maybe
Mhm.
you don't want Oxycontin for this.
Right.
Maybe you want to, figure out within the different traditions how you can integrate them.
Right.
Pardon the pun, but that's what we call it, integrative medicine.
Yep.
We
Yeah.
don't do it a lot, but that's what we call it.
Right. And you help people develop their plan, right? The one
Exactly.
that
It's very
they
individual.
can go with heart and
Yeah.
with soul and that makes sense to their minds.
Yeah.
Yes. And
And
I
one of
I
the
will.
things is we start with the question is, what's important to you with your health? It's not
Yeah.
like I come in with an agenda,
Mhm.
but I can look at your age and your ethnicity and your gender and say, well, these are some of the things you may want to be thinking about as a
Yeah.
25-year-old, as a 50-year-old,
Right.
as a yeah. So
And when you're done, and I can testify to this because you've given me some health assurance sessions, is that I did feel assured, right, after them and ongoing as well. I feel a lot more confident about making choices about my health, which, currently our cultural system has taken those choices away from us or made us think that we don't have a choice.
mhm,
So
mhm.
that's something that I feel like is a huge benefit that you provide, is
Yay.
sense of confidence and yeah, and just a blueprint really for like for what's next, right? What are the next steps that breaks it down into a lot less overwhelm for
Yeah,
me.
and we can do it section by section. That's why I said we can kind of do a long scan, but most people are choosing to do like, let's look at the next 3 to 5 years. What are the things I'm going to need
Yeah.
as I age? Because everybody's going in one direction. Nobody's getting younger and younger,
Right.
every couple of years. here.
Yep. Awesome. So you help us do it creatively. I love it so much.
And that's
Um,
where the healing artist comes in,
yeah,
as opposed to the artist healing wrote the book. I had to
mhm,
get a lot of my heart back
the
and my
book.
intuition back to
Mm,
write from my heart. But
yep.
the healing artist wants to help you all make the ceremonies and make the savoring memories out of the trauma stories, or
Mhm.
make sure that the next time you go into a adventure,
Mhm.
even the language with the
Yep.
conventional medical system, you have your buddy with you and you bring your sense of humor,
Yeah.
and maybe you bring an orange.
Yeah. I love it. All the tools.
People are always like, what do you mean an orange? I said, anytime you go into the conventional medical model, if you're going to have to sit around, bring an orange,
Bring an
because
orange.
it gives you something to eat. It gives you something to adjust the environment as far as what you're smelling around you. And in the
Yep.
emergency room, it can be really triggering to have
Yep.
alcohol, both the medicinal kind and the other kind,
Yep.
in the air. Gives you
And
something to eat.
and orange is the color of our creative souls.
There you go. How important.
Yes, I love it. All right. So from you speaking your truth, that's the name of the book at the bottom there, Spirit of My Ancestors, A Black Woman Doctor's Truth. It's available on Amazon. And what's the other one called?
It's called Ingram Sparks
Ingram
for a
Sparks.
paperback copy.
Got
And
it.
then for an e-book, you can get either the Kindle, all
Right.
right, or you can do something called draft to digital.
Right. And I'll put those links into the comments of this
That's
live stream when
wonderful.
we're done.
Thank you.
So
Thank you.
that's great. Yeah. And so from learning about you and your story to going ahead and getting you as their champion and into into their healthcare lives, there's another road that you have that people can take to I guess help you understand why our systems are failing, right? Your overview of that stuff. You write about that, you do videos about that, you do lots of entertainment about why our systems are failing and how to rise above it. And
Yeah.
so
How to
that's
ride the wave, I would say.
right.
Point.
Ride the wave.
It's
Okay, I
it's
like that
kind of
better.
hard to get above it right now, but if
Yeah,
you could stick with it, maybe that will help
ride
us.
the wave.
Yeah.
Right. So you do that through your Substack, right? So
I do.
when people subscribe to your Substack, they get all that edutainment, and you also have a free gift through there right now. You have
Yes,
a
I do.
free gift, which is a couple of stuff on your eye health and your breast health, right?
I
Your
do. It's called Breast Cancer is Not Pink, as
Mhm.
far as really, really looking at what's called cause marketing.
Yep.
There's a way that things are sold to us that for your health, it's really
Mhm.
important to understand. So it's a good perk. It's a good
Right.
gift.
It is. It is wonderful and fun too. Actually, you wouldn't think that talking about that would be fun, but it's very, very fun the way that you do the
Well, the picture that
educate.
you even see at first is me in a shocking pink top that is very see-through. So there you go. So
Yeah, there you go.
maybe you just
Who
enjoy the
doesn't want
picture.
that? Right. So, okay. So yeah, subscribe to your Substack. I will put that link also in the comments and get your book. So yeah, wrapping up here right now. I'm just gonna say another witnessing of you that one thing I value about you so much, and that people who come into your world are also going to value after this, is that you're very real. You are never somebody who's not being yourself, which is, sometimes hard to come by. More of us women who are getting into the solopreneur space and getting our mission, our passions out into the world and helping each other. More and more of us are being authentic and learning how to do that. But so as somebody who's very, very real yourself, right? Last question that I have today is how do you do that so elegantly? If you can.
When you read my book,
Yeah.
you will see that I took a lot of traumatic stories and turned them around. And the way I
Mhm.
turn them around is what I want you to work with me to learn. All right. I did for 15 years a business called Ceremony Heals. There are ways that on an individual level, in a one-on-one session or in a small group of 20 or in a Zoom call or a webinar, we can move forward recognizing that women's wellness has not been cultivated. So this is uncharted territory that we're moving forward in together now. And some of the language I say is flocking. It means one person leads for a while and then we change direction and then there's another lead. That's very hard for people raised in this culture, particularly gender female people, to do, but we're doing it.
Yes.
We're doing it.
We're doing it. We're doing it. So yay. Thank you, Dr. O.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. And everybody else, if when you get in her world and Dr. and Opami's world, you're going to learn all about having creative joy right through the apocalypse, through, even in the apocalyptic healthcare system that we are dealing with.
Thank you. Check out the free, easy stuff that's available through all those connections you're going to see linked at the bottom, and learn a little bit more about your health in entertaining ways.
Yes. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. I'm going to go do a new moon circle now and make sure we got warmth in the yurt. I got to go stoke the fires.
Happy new moon in the yurt. Bye.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.